Hey you guys, welcome back to Love Multiplies. I am Alex and I am so blessed to have Ashley back here with us. If you haven't seen, she was here with us a few videos back. She has started this amazing organization called Lifetime Healing, and it is post-placement care and love for birth moms. There is not enough resources at all. And so she is the powerhouse to make it happen across all the agencies in our country, and she's doing an amazing job. But what we wanted to do was bring her on here and kind of encourage us and share with us one of the scariest parts of going into the adoption is trying to put together your profile book.
Yes.
And it's trying to put you into a two-dimensional book and trying to express yourself the best you can, but also having so many fears going into it of like, what do I do? What do I say? What do I not say? How do I do this? And how is it going to come across? And I just don't know what to do.
Yes. So when we're talking about profile books, just to validate everybody, everyone's terrified. Mm-hmm. And if it's scary for you to put together a book, try being on my side, reading a book.
Yes.
So I placed my son for adoption 12 years ago. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to follow through with an adoption plan, you have to pick a family. Mm-hmm. And typically that happens through reading a book of complete strangers.
Right, exactly.
So when I chose my family for Derek, I was given a stack of 50 profiles and they said, pick one. And I was like, are you kidding me?
How?
Really? And they're like, if you need more. And I'm like, no, we'll find one in this pile. And typically the process looks like this. The women are going to flip through pictures first. They're going to visually connect with you. Mm-hmm. They're going to eliminate two-tided jeans on a dad, or
genuinely.
like a bad perm on a mom. And it's not, I know this is very personal. And you guys are 100%, for lack of a better term, trying to sell yourselves to a woman that's considering you for a family. But on top of being judged by the women reading, you're in competition with hundreds of other families.
Right.
And so you're trying to put your best foot forward.
Right.
And the biggest mistake that a hopeful adoptive parents make is that they oversell.
Sure.
They try and give it away all up front.
Right.
And we're going to look through the pictures and flip through your book, and then we're going to try and get an emotional connection, and we're going to read your letter. And although it seems like we're judging you, what we're really trying to do is take pause and see if we can picture our children in your family photos, if we can picture them on your vacations, if we can picture our children in the school and the community that you live in. And it's not about whether you're a good person or a good family. Every single profile book that we read are good people, are potential candidates.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we have very specific things that we're looking for. And it literally doesn't matter what you put in there. It matters what we connect with.
Right.
And I know women that were not allowed to have a dog their whole life growing up. And they said, when I grow up and I'm a mom, I'm going to let my kid have a dog.
Yeah.
And then they got pregnant. And now they're going to find a family that has a dog. Don't go buy 40 dogs just in case.
Just in case she wants to have a dog.
That's not a thing.
But you know what? Then there's going to be someone else that says, I don't like pets.
That's right.
I don't want.
That's right.
Yeah. And so you're not supposed to sell in the sense of what do I think they want?
Yeah.
It's who am I?
Who am I? And the biggest thing to remember is she has the right to know authentically and realistically, where's my child going? And you owe her at least that.
Not a pretend.
That's right.
Not this is what I pretending to be. This is who I actually am.
I went to Disneyland 10 years ago, so I travel. No, you don't. And it's okay. It's okay if you're not a traveling family.
Right.
It's okay if you don't hike and fish and bike. It's okay if you don't cook. I don't cook anything.
Right.
I'm a horrible cook. Like, that's not, like, I didn't care if his family cooked. I was looking for very specific things. And the right woman, I promise you, the right mother is going to connect with you. Be yourself. 100%. The only thing that matters is that you are showing up and being authentic. You are meeting these mothers in the most vulnerable time of their life.
Yeah, because we were talking, imagine how maybe putting together your profile book, you feel so stressed and anxious and you've done all this paperwork up to this point, and then you're to the profile book. Well, let's step back and think, wait, but what's the journey coming from the other side about to read the book?
That's right. I have lived this whole life before our worlds collide. There's a whole story there. There's a whole life lived. There's all of these circumstances, potential addiction, abuse, abandonment, divorce. I mean, all these underlying issues. Sometimes the pregnancy is the smallest fire in their life that they're trying to put out. And they meet you in a profile book. I am not a hypothetical. These women that come to the table that are trying to choose adoption are taking this very seriously. And they're trying to pick a family, a stranger, literally a stranger from a stack of books.
Right.
It's impossible. How do you do that?
Right.
And there's a huge burden on top of that that says, how do I deem one family of worthy of a kid and another not? When you're told by your agencies you're being looked at.
Yeah.
And then you're also told by your agencies that there was a no. And that comes back on me. And I want to encourage you through the wait and through the rejection. I know this is so personal, but it's not personal about you. It's what she could visualize for her own child and for her life moving forward in a long-term open adoption relationship. And even though it feels like a no, it's just a not yet.
Yeah. And it's not a no to you personally. And when you present it, hey, I've handed out 10 profile books and I've gotten no every time. What's wrong with me?
Yeah. It's not personal against you. It's not. I know it feels so personal, but it's really her feeling right about the family that she chooses.
I get asked all the time, well, we already have a big family. We have a family of 4 already and we want to adopt. Or we don't have any kids yet. And, I'm afraid that they're going to want to have siblings for that. All those kind of fears, same thing too. And they feel like I'm not even worthy to adopt.
That's right. And agencies are always going to err on the side of caution. So they're going to tell you if you're over a certain age or you have so many kids, that it's going to be a longer wait. And I typically don't agree with that because I really believe that women are looking for all different types.
Yeah, exactly.
And don't let that keep you from pursuing adoption just because you've been told that, well, you already have 4 kids, no one's going to pick you. One of the number one reasons that I picked the family that I did over the couple that didn't have kids was because they had siblings and they had adopted before. And so I was like, oh, he won't be like the weird kid in the family.
Right.
Like that's like a normal thing in their home.
Yeah. Can you explain to them a little bit? You got down to your last 2 books.
Yes, I did. And they were very different. I had a couple. She had cancer and a full hysterectomy when she was like 18. She was so young. And then there was a family that had 2 kids, a biological child and 1 adopted child. Completely different social classes. They lived in different states, different jobs. And I got it to that point, and then I said, I'm out. Like, give me some clarity. I prayed, I cried over these families because I connected with these families. Visually, when you're trying to connect with a mother, to consider a woman to raise your child, like that stays with you. And both of them would have been amazing. Yeah. And I woke up the next morning and it was very clear to me, and it wasn't personal one against the other. It was just, this was it. Yeah. And the 2 biggest reasons were that they had adopted before. And
goosebumps. Always her story gives me goosebumps.
They had adopted before. And I loved the thought of him being in a home where that was a normal thing. They had talked about it in their book. Right. And that made me feel comfortable. Right. And the other thing was that they had 2 girls and the dad loved to fish. And I said, he needs a son to fish with. He needs a boy. And so I was drawn to the strong father figure. Outside of financial crisis, one of the number one reasons why we choose to place is because we want a 2-parent household. Yeah. And
because we get asked that question a lot is there are a lot of singles that want to adopt. And again, like it goes back to there is a placement for everybody. And I've heard of stories where they have gotten placed with everybody, but this is a strong desire for many.
Yeah. The 2-parent household is a really big pull. There's going to be a lot of women that were maybe raised by single mothers that would absolutely be drawn to a woman that wants to adopt as a single mother. But for me, having a strong father figure in the home and knowing that was not something that I had at the time that I was pregnant, that was a big draw for me. And watching him be able to fish with his son. And then I learned later on what a big deal it was for him to be able to pass on his family name and all these things that I didn't even think about. Right. But I'm like, putting a son in that family ended up being so much bigger than what I connected with.
Right.
Just encouragement to know that there's the right person who's going to connect with you. Just be authentic and be yourself.
I think the big one is that don't pretend that you travel a lot when you don't, like, because you feel like you have to pretend that you're all this. But you know what? There's a mom that is going to connect where I'm a homebody and I love it and I love my community and they're
she's going to connect with that. And at some point, she's going to learn the truth about you. And she's picking you based off of what you share with her. And she's trusting that what you're presenting is who you really are.
Right.
And so when she's in the throes of this impossible decision, when she's pouring over this information and she's visualizing her child in your life, if that's not really what you're presenting, then you're doing a huge disservice for her and the child.
Yeah, that's not fair.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you guys, thank you so much to Ashley for being here with us. We are so thankful for her knowledge and her pour and her love for this community and for her love for you guys. So give her a big thank you. Go check out her website at lifetimehealingadoptions.com, and we'll see you guys in our next video.
Bye,
Go
guys.
let your love multiply. Bye. My mouth is so dry.
Your lips are like sticking to your teeth. Okay.